Now to potentially my favorite part of the whole episode.
Sit up in that chair.
Sit up in the chair.
Sit up in
Oh,
that
this is
chair,
good.
dude.
Dear Coach Joe Bresci.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show, presented by STX on the Lacrosse Network. How we feeling, fellas? Back in the city.
Let's
We're
go.
back.
We're back.
We're getting it rolling. Dukes, first off, happy birthday.
Thank
26.
you.
Birthday to Duke.
No, stop. Happy 1 year.
Wow. The kid 1 year. Started with Froyo, and now he's 365 days into this thing. Episode 7, coming to you live back from the studio. Another packed episode. We're coming back from the results from Villanova and PA, the Waterdogs' home city. Didn't go as planned. We'll talk about that. Mitch's Mailbox, Pick'em's, PLL Fantasy, another packed episode. A lot of debate topics in today's episode. I'm super excited. Starting off, PLL Week 3 recap. Cannons over Dogs in OT. Did we see it coming? I don't really know. Cannons 12-11. 𝐓𝐇𝐄 3 or a face-off win in the first 5 seconds. You know, they kind of came out strong. Did we expect that from the Cannons?
I'll tell you what I didn't expect was zzach to just go full Superman mode in this
Dude,
game.
are you serious?
the
How many
Hail Mary-
fantasy points did he get us?
69 fantasy
69?
points.
That's the pick of the week points.
for me. That's the pick of the week. Give
Yeah.
me that all day. No, just interesting game. zzach, a former Waterdog, played one game
Yeah.
for the Waterdogs the year prior, comes in, was great at the stripe. You knew he was going to have good numbers percentage-wise just because the Waterdogs don't dress a face-off guy. But, you know, to have the game winner in OT, a goal earlier in that first quarter, and then that Hail Mary 2 bomb right before halftime.
No one saw it coming.
You were not
But
expecting
big respect,
all those
Big Zach.
points. Yeah, I did not expect that. But, you know, 2 of the best teams in the league in my mind, and just a great game overall. The Waterdogs, they got to stop playing from behind. Every week I feel like they're trying to come back late. It doesn't work.
And I think we dive right into that with the face-off. Dude, you want to take us away with the Tierney quote?
Yeah, I think Bill Tierney basically said that, you know, with the 32 seconds, because right now people are saying Waterdogs need a face-off guy.
Yeah.
And Bill Tierney's saying, you don't know ball, basically. They only scored 3 or 4 times on the 32-second possessions, which is after that it's 52 after the face-off. So I don't know. It's up for debate. Where do you stand? I'm guessing, Hoagie, you're on the side that they should sign a face-off guy.
Yeah, I'm like 50-50 on that. I think partially what he said is correct. I don't think it killed you as bad as people say it is, but I think it does hurt you in a multitude of other ways with the approach that they're doing it. One, it hurts you in overtime because you're basically losing like the NFL coin flip. You don't even get a chance to touch. You might not even get a chance to touch the ball. You're basically, if that game goes to overtime like both their losses did, they're not touching the ball first. So right off the bat, they don't even have a chance to win. That's the first problem. Second problem for me when I see it is they have a guy like Zach Currier taking those faceoffs for them. It wears him out as a guy who needs to play offense, who's kind of like that Swiss Army knife on both D, clearing.
Swiss Army knife early here in the city.
You need a guy like him to be fresh and cannot have him getting worn out taking faceoffs. If you're going to do this strategy for the Waterdogs, I think you need to sign someone from the player pool who's just a total machine and be like, look, your only job is to take every faceoff. We don't even need you to win the actual faceoff. We need you to just hound the shit out of
Hell
any of those
yeah,
guys.
V.
Like, no,
Manhattan Jasper V.
Because if you look at it, they're not even trying to win the faceoff. They had a guy go early on purpose, back away.
Yeah.
They're just trying to concede and play
And
defense.
a guy like Courier, like you said, like you need him on the offensive side. You're tiring him out. Like, and we talked about it pre-show. Connor Farrell. It's getting louder.
I can't wait to hear
Dr. Tierney.
Pool's going to pull a John Fercaro in here and be like, breaking news, the Waterdogs just signed Connor Farrell.
Do we see that as a legitimate thing happening for the Waterdogs?
I think Farrell is a good signing for them moving forward. I know that Tierney's adamant about Alex Stathakis, and Alex Stathakis is a great face-off guy, but he hasn't played a game in the PLL yet. Connor Farrell's been a multi-year starter. I think he's kind of one of those like plug-and-play vets that you can bring in, knows what he's doing. He's going to give you that beef that you want against Trevor Baptiste, kind of another big body to match him blow for blow, and he has the experience to play. I think it might be counterproductive to kind of bring in Stathakis and be like, expect him to just do all this stuff after he has never played a game. I think it would be smart to bring Farrell in, give you at least 30 to 40%. Maybe at max he gives you a 50-60% game. 40% I think is better than nothing.
It's tough.
Like Dukes' point, they only give up 3 goals. So.
Yeah, I'm not so sold on like. I think it's very convenient for this to be an argument right now. They were 3 goals away from us never talking about this being like Bill Tierney's a genius.
Yeah.
That's the difference in this, in what we're talking about.
Yeah, but also
2
like,
overtime losses, one other non-overtime loss to the Archers week 1. You tell me who do the Waterdogs sit? Because they have a thing right now where they dress at least 3 short stick D middies. Their offensive middies are loaded. They still don't have Jack Hanna. I don't know where they go.
It's a tough spot, but like
and we talked about
all these teams have these roster issues.
Yeah.
I'll raise where it's tight and you have to make tough decisions. That's not just a unique thing to the Waterdogs. The Atlas, we'll talk about it more on. They're going to have a problem once Jake Stevens and guys like Peyton Cormier come back. What do they do there?
Yeah.
But to me, I raise this point. Imagine this Waterdogs team with Luke Weirman. They're probably 3-0.
Yeah, but that's different because you're asking you to bring on someone like Connor Farrell, whose faceoff he will give you 55%. And I think even 40s on the low end for him. Winning faceoffs has never been his problem. It's what he can do after the 32 seconds.
Yeah, but
you can't do much after that 32 seconds.
I think this year, what I've seen so far, I agree with that, Dukes. But what I've seen this year in the dramatic faceoff changes, what did Connor Farrell struggle at over the years? And it was carrying pressure with a long pole.
Yeah.
There's no poles taking faceoffs anymore. And a lot of the times, if you watch it with a 32-second shot clock, the team, if you lose the clamp, they're not like in college where you're trying to double the ball, hacking the ball. They're just like, wing guys, we lost it, we're retreating in.
Yeah.
Most faceoff guys have an easy outlet right off the bat to just get rid of it and get off the field.
Yeah.
So I think if Farrell can win clamps.
But with Tierney's quote, does it kind of mind you that like he's not even in the realm of thinking about a Fogo?
I mean, to me, Tierney's quote tells me they're not going to think about a Fogo right now. And if they do, it's going to be Alex Stathakis because they mentioned something about picking up a faceoff guy. Or they mentioned something about you don't have a faceoff guy on your roster. And he was like, we have Alex Stathakis. He's just not been activated. So to me, it's no faceoff guy or Stathakis. My opinion, pick up Connor Farrell, see where you go. If he doesn't do anything, you can drop him in 2 weeks and go right back to this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still team. Like you said, obviously every team in this league is loaded. It would be tough to find a better midfield than the Waterdogs in my head.
I still think Waterdogs are top 3 team in the league.
Same.
I agree.
They are 3 goals away from being the best team in the league.
Yeah. No, without a doubt. Are we nervous from a Barstool perspective?
I mean, with ownership. I mean, I know it starts at the top, but no, this is the lowest you can get the Waterdogs.
Yeah.
And I'm buying all the stock.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them to not get a single one at home. I thought that they would bounce back against the Whips. It's a tough league, man.
It is.
It's a tough league.
It is. And we'll talk more on that when we make our pick'ems, but pick'ems can go any way each week.
Yeah.
It's so hard to tell.
It's tough too, but like the Whip Snakes game, like that's a game when you're like the Waterdogs, you're an upper echelon team in the league. Like that's one of those wins that later on in the year you might be kicking yourself.
Going off the face-off too. Nard's going 100%. We'll dive into that.
That's sick.
Let's talk about the Cannons though real quick. Are they showing some light to what we actually thought they were going to be this season? Obviously with the stacked roster, Pat, Holman, his brother Matt, Asher, like what do we think there?
Yeah, I mean, I love what the Cannons are doing. They're, I feel like, flying under the radar the last 2 weeks in terms of they had all the preseason hype. They got blown out week 1. They beat the Whips last week. People are like, congrats, you beat the Whips.
Yeah,
and then
easy. It's my
now
team.
they had a good win. No, it's the truth.
Easy.
But no, I mean, I think the underappreciated, undervalued part about the Cannons is the way that Kirst has played in net for them. He's been phenomenal. The offensive versatility with guys like Matt Campbell who can stretch the field from 2, having Kirst run out of the box, Holman down there, Asher Nolte. I think they're going to be a dangerous threat moving forward for sure.
Yeah.
And especially if Tucci can keep this up, because that was like the one key we talked about was like the uncertainty at the faceoff. They didn't dress week 1. They dressed Tucci week 2. He did okay. Obviously exploded week 3. I'd like to see what he does, though, against like an actual Fogo.
Yep.
He did a great job offensively scoring points, but like I said, you kind of throw the percentages out the window when you go against a team like the Waterdogs, and you're going to go basically 75+ regardless. So I'm curious to see what he does moving forward.
Yeah, and I think going off that, going right into the Whips versus Dogs, like you just mentioned, the Whips over the Dogs in overtime, 2 overtime games in their home city. Whips win 15-14. Very stunning. Whips potentially, what we talked about is maybe the worst team in the league, come in and beat the Waterdogs. Obviously, Rambo nets it in overtime. Nards, 100% from the X.
I don't care,
That's ridiculous.
regardless if you're going against a face-off guy or not.
Yeah.
Going 31 for 31, 100%. That is
Have we seen that in the league yet? No way.
Yeah.
Oh, have we?
Yeah, it's happened a couple times last year.
Okay.
With this new wave of not dressing a face-off guy.
Yeah. It's interesting, though, with the Whips, like, are they a sneaky team like the Dogs?
I mean, to me, the Whips just came. To me, the Whips, they're 0-2. They're hungry. The Dogs played the day before, heartbreaking loss. They're a little tired legs. The Whips came out strong at the beginning, looked a little fresher on the field.
Yep.
And I think it was kind of one of those games where the Waterdogs were a little jet lagged, I want to say, from the game. Whips came out hot. You knew Stags would have them motivated. Those guys needed to win bad. And, I liked it. Chaney's been hot from 2. He's had a really productive start.
He's one of the most underrated shooters, I think, in the league. We saw him live shoot on Nesty. He could pull it from anywhere, I think.
Yeah, I think that, he's been doing this for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Sometimes people just you forget.
Yeah.
Or, I didn't, but I just think general population
No,
just
definitely. I mean, you're playing that long for sure.
Right. It's just you kind of fly under the radar. He's been letting it sling.
Yeah.
Man, I think the Whips, putting them with the Waterdogs, I ain't going to do that because I do think there's tiers to it.
Okay.
But if you're telling me that I think they're a playoff team, for sure. Do I think they're better than they're getting respect for in their first 2 losses? For sure.
Would you put the Whips above the Redwoods?
Yes.
Okay.
I look at it from a playoff, non-playoff factor.
Okay.
Like, I don't think, and we'll hop into these other games, I just don't, I'm not buying all the Outlaws Redwoods hype.
No.
Again, this league, the margin for error is very small.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised with whatever happens. But, yeah, I'm higher on the Whips than
I also think you got to look at the Waterdogs, going back to the Waterdogs point. I'm like, 3 1-goal losses. They want to blame no face-off guy, all this kind of stuff. Like, look at some of the ways they lost. They've given up a multitude of 2-pointers.
Yeah.
They gave up a goal to Colin Squires in transition yesterday in the Whips game. Matt Dunn had 2 goals, for God's sake. They used to say that they brought it up on the podcast when Matt Dunn would run over the midfield line. It was like a dog collar going off, like you got to get back or you're going to get shocked. Like, he has 2 goals. Like, they're losing all these games by 1 goal, but they're also giving up unconventional games, like giving up 2 bombs, giving up multiple goals to Matt Dunn, Squires, like these. It's almost just crazy what's going on.
Yeah, going off that, Dan Arestia, a friend of the program.
Legend.
He said he had a great stat. In 3 games, the Waterdogs have put the ball in the net more times than their opponent twice, and the same amount of times once. Meaning that, they've had more 1-pointers, whatnot, and just they've been getting screwed by the 2-ball. Yeah,
it's crazy to think about too. Just how beneficial the 2-ball is.
Yeah,
and do you think, and obviously the 2-ball's been around since the MLL days, and obviously the PLL days. Or do you think coaches will start to form their plan around the 2-ball rather than, getting the 1-ball? It's kind of like in the NBA now. You see more teams attacking the 3 than the long 2 or the inside 2.
Yeah, I just think the shooters are just getting so much better.
They're so much better, too.
Like, a 15-yard shot is not out of the realm anymore.
Yeah, no way.
So, now I think more teams are taking more 2-balls, and especially in the transition sub-game, a lot of times you see a pole or someone kind of creeping in from behind, just stepping in.
Yeah.
And it's so hard for these goalies to save those shots.
It's so
Seeing
hard.
those shots,
especially a long
yards.
pole too. There's no chance.
Quinn made a good point too. Dylan Ward said sometimes when you can't even track him, if you watch Dylan Ward, he steps out of the crease.
Yeah.
Because it's easier to meet it farther away than staying in. When you can't get a clear read on it, it's better to just lunge your body forward and hope it hits you rather than stand there and you're just like the goalie frog where you're like, I don't know where.
The legend. Oh, but for the Whipsnakes, so moving forward, the Stags and the boys, do they rethink about this whole thing? Do they make any changes, or where do you guys move with the Whipsnakes going forward?
I mean, they just traded for Levi Anderson last week. They made the change to bring Brett Kennedy in at LSM.
Let's go. Ridgewood native.
So I feel like, you got to at least stick with that roster again next week just because you won with it.
Yeah.
I feel like you got to give it another go. So
Who
we'll
are they
see.
playing next week?
The Whipsnakes?
We'll get into the Pick'ems
get
a little
into
bit
Pick'ems
later. Going to the next game, though, Atlas versus Redwoods. This was a game I saw, obviously live, but then on recap. I just want to first start out with the Rob Pennell tackle slam on Timmy Troutner. Did we see that?
Gotta stick up for your boys if you're the Atlas. That's borderline disrespectful for someone.
It was just so out of context. I feel like Troutner wasn't even really involved.
I think we've had so many.
Troutner,
he was involved, but it was kind of one of those things he was off, and then RP3 comes over and body slams him. We got the belt up here. RP3, come get your belt.
We got to ask our boy Steve Zoop what gets said down there in the field because the amount of fights I've seen the last 3 weeks.
It's crazy.
He talks his talk, Troutner.
Troutner does chirp.
He chirps. He was chirping.
And it was his former team.
He was chirping Garnsey hard, had Ryder in a chokehold. Ryder fought back a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it was completely fair game. It was almost like Troutner didn't know that there was possible that someone could punch him in the face, and all of a sudden Rob Pennell was standing over him, and he did not know. He didn't know what to do. He was like, "I thought I was just talking."
When Garnsey was going for the cage, Troutner just didn't even save it. He tried to deck him.
I know.
That was crazy. I'm all for fights. Don't get me wrong. I love the RP3 body slam.
Yeah.
Nothing will ever top the Nick Casello punch and blaze in the face.
Dude. Get Nick Casello back on the pod. I love that though. But Atlas over Redwoods. The Atlas continue to roll. Are the Redwoods the worst team in the league right now?
No. I think the Outlaws.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm excited to see the Outlaws.
Outlaws
play again.
we didn't see him this week.
What are you excited about?
I'm excited to see if they can.
Jake Vicino?
No.
Did he follow you back?
No, he didn't follow me
Oh
back.
my gosh.
But like you said last week, they played one good quarter. I'm excited to see if they can do it again in the first quarter instead of the fourth.
For sure. And also going back to the Redwoods game, they lost to the Chaos by 1. And you can make the argument that that had some hometown flavor.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
to
we saw
me, the
Slim
Redwoods
in the
game, like,
stands.
they came out well. They were up 5-3 after one. It was tied 8-8 at a half, but
Yeah.
Atlas just has way too much, like, firepower coming out 6-2 in the third quarter. Just offensively, it almost reminds me of, like, the dominance of them. It's like, I don't want to compare them to, like, a Notre Dame or a Maryland, but, like, how, like, they've been in college lacrosse and more compared to that 2022 Maryland team because we played against it. Like, you can only hang with them for so long until the door is just kicked down.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Like,
there's so much depth, too.
so much depth. They have so much talent. It's just going to be so tough. Like, look at, like, the stats are, like, video game, like Teat with 8 points and Shelley with another 7, like a casual 7.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see one, like, crazy Shelley or
But
Teat.
does it worry you that the fact that it's 8-8 and two guys are putting up those numbers in a game like that? Like, obviously we're seeing some producement out of the midfield, but is it too attack heavy for the Atlas?
Nah, I actually think the production from the midfield has been the key to their
The
success.
Dox Aiken
Dox
coming
Aiken.
back has been the
Miles,
biggest
yeah.
key to their success.
Dox Aiken's playing like the best midfielder in the world
he
right
is,
now.
yeah.
I mean, he's the
No
best
doubt.
athletically. I think he's
No doubt.
It's insane what he's been able to do. Just off the shot clock alone, because we're going to talk about the face-off and like Connor Farrell, and I just want to make this point, is when you have somebody like Trevor, and you're like, well, look at the Atlas, they're going to have problems. But Trevor could stay on the field for the 32 seconds. He could set picks. They don't have to take him off the field. Like they don't have to waste time subbing someone on.
Trevor struggled this weekend. He
Yeah,
was
what
like
was his
30%.
He was out. He was out for the remainder of the game.
Yeah.
So TBD on like what happened with him. But
Yeah, we'll see.
I think the production out of the midfield, like I like their going off to New York, the Bronx Bombers out of that midfield. Like Dox
go.
Aiken, that's a Bronx Bomber.
Bronx, the Jaspers.
I think
Let's go.
people
Rep
just
the
forgot
Bronx.
about him. Obviously trying to play football last year and do his
At
whole thing there.
Villanova.
Yeah, I know. So
He's
Miles
a Villanova kid
Jones.
back
Yeah.
home.
Miles Jones is coming back. He gave that little.
Yeah,
he
that
looks
two bomb.
legit, dude. He looks like
he looks
potentially
great.
Duke
He
Miles
does.
Jones.
He does.
So it's
For
been
a while,
exciting,
you know
though.
what? I'll say it. For a while, I was like ass. Like I was like, I don't know,
Hit
man.
the
Like,
bricks. But now he's back.
dude. Back, and it was like it's
Dude,
like
you know what's
2014.
interesting though, and I think I've realized about the league, and I saw it with Jules Henningberg too, and I see it a little bit with Colin Heacock and Miles Jones as well. When these guys get to a new team, it's kind of like this refresh for them to start playing good. And it's cool to see a guy like Miles Jones, who we grew up watching, idolizing, continue to kill it in the league.
I also think this point in his career for Miles Jones, like, I don't want to say no one expects anything from him, but he doesn't have the expectation to be like that workhorse lead midfielder for them. So he can come in, kind of sit back in like that,
Yeah, it's cool.
in that secondary mode and just kind of play more free because they're not relying on just Miles Jones. He's not getting that main pole every time. Like,
But I do think it's harder for a guy like Miles Jones in this league with the shot clock and how fast it is to put up points like a shifty Shriver,
Oh,
a
100%,
Schreiber, or a
because
Met.
he's a big downhill using his body, running guys over.
But let's hop back to the opposite side of the field for the Atlas. Troutner's been lighting it up. If he continues to play like this, are we going to see Entenmann?
I
Okay,
don't think we see Entenmann.
So I said this on Twitter
think
yesterday
we
for
do.
anybody on Twitter. That was like after it was like 5-0 or 5-1. I said we might be seeing Entenmann. People are like, no, none of those goals were Troutner's fault. Look, we've said it. If you let up 10 goals or 9 goals or like it starts getting ugly and it's not your fault as a goalie, you still could get pulled because of the mental psyche. You're seeing some go by now.
Yep.
We might need to change like communication back there, whatnot. Timmy's in like an impossible job.
Yeah.
If he does have one bad game, even if it's reactionary or not, even if it's the right call or not, Entenmann could come in.
Yeah.
See, to me,
You spent a fifth.
No,
fifth pick on
definitely.
him.
I mean,
to
it's
me,
definitely.
to me, I don't think we see Entenmann unless like it really goes to garbage and it becomes a total crapshoot. Because to me, the when you had to make this change was in the first 3 weeks. You had to give any reason that Tim struggled and be like, we're taking Tim out, we're riding with Entenmann. The team's 4-0. They're the hottest team in the league. They're one of the best professional teams in my eyes that we've seen maybe in the PLL era, rivaling maybe one of those Whip Snakes teams at the beginning. We'll get into that later.
Yeah, we'll get into that later.
But to me, like, they're 4-0. They're heading into a bye week. They're heading into week 5, and then we have the All-Star game already.
Yeah.
You're not changing Liam Entenmann in midseason, especially on a team that's rolling, that's hot.
yeah.
No
you're
slack
right,
back
though. I
on
think it
Entenmann.
has to be-
Rabel said it himself to us at Pres Row at Albany. It's a different type of shot. It's a different
Yeah.
shooter. To just throw Liam in there and think he's going to be what he was at Notre Dame in game 1 is
Yeah.
a tough ask for him. Will he eventually get there? 100%. He's one of the best goalies in the world.
Yep.
To me, I think it's going to be one of those situations where regardless of Timmy maybe having a bad quarter, bad half, even bad game, you got to ride with Tim unless the wheels fall off
Yeah.
for like 3 straight games. I think at this point,
and
you
I
gotta
think
ride
too,
with him.
going off that, like, I don't know this, and apologies for not knowing this, but if I'm Liam Entenmann, can he ask, for a trade, or what does that
No,
look
because
like?
to me, what's going to happen moving forward is best case, Tim has an amazing year. The Atlas are going to look to move on and trade him for either a player or a pick, and then start Liam all of next year. Is what my ideal goal would be.
Do you think if Troutner has a good year?
Wait, so you're saying they want to get rid of Troutner?
I see what he's saying.
You see what I'm saying, Dukes?
Because it is, you know, you look at Timmy for having a great year. Are you betting on Timmy having a great year, or are you going to look at what he's put on the field for the past 5 or whatever it's been? 4
so you're going to ride with him being hot right now, but to me, it's.
Okay, so let's say he's hot for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
They win the championship. If you're Pressler, what are you doing with Entenmann and Troutner?
I think you're looking to shop Entenmann. Hopefully get either a talented player to add to your team or maybe even a first-round picker so that you can get for him for a desperate team who needs a goalie. And then I think you got to roll with Entenmann starting next year, Dukes.
I mean, this is a problem a couple years ago when the Waterdogs, they needed a goalie, and the Chaos had Blaze Reardon and Dylan Ward after the MLL and the PLL merger.
Yep.
You had 2 of the best goalies in the world on the same roster.
Yep.
So Waterdogs traded for Dylan Ward.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really do. I'm going to see, wait, again,
Bottom
the
line
Timmy
is-
Troutner experience is wild.
It's crazy. No one expected it, too.
Timmy Troutner has been, in my eyes at one point, I was like, oh, my God, he's top 2 goalie in the world. I feel like, I'm like, this is...
He's playing legit.
One of the best goalies I've ever seen. And then the Timmy Troutner experience could get ugly. And Timmy Troutner can let some get by. He's up and down, but when he's hot, he's unbelievable.
He looks good.
The bottom line is Liam Entenmann and Tim Troutner are both not going to be on the Atlas next year. One of them is going to be on a different team.
Yeah.
To me, you just spent the 5th pick on Liam Entenmann. Liam Entenmann's seen as maybe the best goalie prospect in the last year's PLL
But if you're
era.
Entenmann, can you? I don't know what the logistics look like.
Not
can
right
you
now.
opt for a trade? What does that look like?
Not right now. For him, I think you sit pretty. You know where you're standing. It's almost like in the NFL when you have a hotshot rookie and you need to let him sit for a year, learn the system.
Yeah.
Even if that guy or that vet has a good year, you're not banking on Tim Troutner to be your goalie for the next 6 years moving forward, playing at all-star level. You're banking on Tim Troutner being the face and the net for the Atlas for the next couple of years. So regardless of how hot or how well Tim plays, you ride him this year because you have to and he has the experience, but then it's business. You got to move on from him and you get what you can for him and you trade for him.
I know one thing for all of us, before the season started, if you said Troutner would be playing like this and he's still the starter, we would say you're definitely lying. So big shout out.
He wasn't even starting week 1. People thought that.
Big shout out to Troutner, the kid from.
I think that going into next year, goalie's the one position where you look at what you have in training camp and nothing the year before matters.
Yeah.
So if Troutner next year plays it with Entenmann and they both are at training camp and Entenmann's the better goalie, he'll start. Does not matter. I think it was in the Duke National Championship teams. I want to say Turry got benched after winning in 2014 and they won 2015.
Yeah.
Or it might have been they won 2015 and he was benched next year. So
disrespectful, but as Duke says, there's levels to this. Troutner's playing amazing, but he's not on the same level from looking at the last couple of years as a goalie in this league to be this is the guy we're sticking to for the future.
And do we look
He's
at
had
it from
a great year.
Do we look at it from an age perspective too?
I don't really look at it from
let's
an
say
age
Troutner
perspective.
lights it up again. Do they go with the young guy to kind of be they look at Entenmann to be the goalie for them for the next 5 years?
Nah, because Troutner's not old.
Troutner's not old.
And it's a different position.
I just think the talent of Liam, it's too much to let go.
You spent the 5th pick on him. You want him to start eventually, but you don't. Having 2 really good goalies is a great problem.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. You'd rather have 2 really good goalies than 2 really bad goalies. That's my analysis. That's what you won't get anywhere else.
The key is not that Austin Kaut couldn't start for another team because he's definitely capable of starting for another team. But you want a goalie like that who isn't really on the trade block per se. To me, Timmy Troutner is going to be a hot commodity. Teams know that they have to start Liam. He's having a good year so far. We're projecting he has a great rest of the year. So teams are going to want him.
Yeah.
Having a guy like Austin Kaut to have as your backup is kind of one of those guys. Teams are not necessarily calling your phone trying to get him to start, but he's just reliable as your backup.
Yeah, definitely. Well, that's good roundup. And then going into the last game, the Archers over the Chaos. This was the ultimate defensive slug fest. Dobson playing though, first game.
2 teams though both not score double digits in a PLL game.
I know it's pretty crazy though. Pretty crazy. Obviously, one thing on here though is Sisselberger under 50% for the second straight week. Obviously, going up against Nick Rowlett, kid from Nova. Big shout out. Is that a worry for the Archers?
To me, it's not a worry for the Archers at all. To me, Sis is one of the best in the league.
Yep.
He'll figure it out. You're playing the best in the league week after week. And from a face-off perspective, the way it goes with these stats is sometimes they're a little inflated. If you watch the game, it's different than this kid went 60, this kid went whatever. A couple, 3 balls bounce your way, 1 early goes your way. 3 face-off swing can be the difference between going 55 and 40%.
Yeah.
And the way you're so. No, Sis is one of the best in the league.
Yeah, I don't think there's really any concern there, too.
Tewaaraton curse? After he came on the program and said give specialists should win the Tewaaraton.
Tewaaraton curse. I love that. I didn't even think about that. But question here, did the Archers prove to be the second best team in the league?
No. I'd take the Cannons and the Waterdogs over the Archers right now.
Really?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Dr. Jasper, are you serious?
I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Really?
Yeah, I would too.
I'd put them at 4. I'd put them at 4 right now.
It's crazy because their production from the attack line is crazy. Like I think
There's
Mako
something missing for me, Dukes.
No, they just haven't they had the pieces, they just haven't put it together
But
yet.
eventually it's got to get put together.
I completely
We're
agree.
still fucking early in the season.
Yeah, but if you asked me right now, if the playoffs started, who would I be most confident on? Yeah, if I was like, who am I most comfortable on? Being like, they're going to win it all. There's 3 teams I'd rather say than the Archers.
I agree with that.
At beginning of the season or right now?
Right now.
Who would they be?
I think the team.
The 0-3 Waterdogs, who the Archers beat.
Yes.
Is it crazy? Is it crazy to say
Why
that
is it crazy?
The team that lost to them in the national in the championship last year, the team that won in 2022, that it'd be crazy for them to win it again?
Crazy?
I mean, I just feel like holding the Chaos to 7 goals, that defense, the Archers' defense was the question mark, right? And then now they're holding teams to 7 goals. I feel like that's going to be beneficial to them playing the Waterdogs.
Reverse card? Uno reverse?
Yeah.
Reverse.
The Chaos offense was also their own question mark.
Not really. They played well last week.
They didn't return like any real starters.
It doesn't
from last
matter.
year.
I'm looking at how they're playing now.
But I'm saying they've only had like 2. This is their third game like fully playing together as an offense with all like the trade pieces and like coming off of training camp, all the free agents, all the draft picks.
All right.
I don't know. I think the Chaos when you look at me like with the Chaos, like what I love the most about the Chaos, it's their defense and their goaltending, which like did hold true. I mean, the Archers just had a masterclass themselves. What did Dauber stop 68% or something? Like,
I mean, I'm not the biggest Chaos guy either. I think they're a team that's gritty. They'll compete with you, but I don't think they're a legit contender, to be honest with you.
Really?
I think it's still early.
I think it's still early
though.
Their defense is
so locked
down.
It is, but I don't know. I don't buy it.
It's the offense for me.
Yeah.
Like if their offense fully turns it up,
they don't have the offensive firepower as the Archers, not even close. But they do have some good guys, and I think they have some of the pieces, but they're not even close.
I mean, what we've learned in this league is you just got to get in the playoffs. So
literally, we saw with the Whipsnakes 3 years ago, and
Chaos too. When they won it, they were like the 6 or 7 seed.
But if you guys were to pick right now, if you were a GM of a squad and you had to pick your goalie, would you pick Dobson or Blaze?
Blaze.
Yeah, it's got to be Blaze.
It's not even a question.
It's got to be Blaze. Blaze to
Dobson, Blaze, or Troutner?
Blaze. I'm taking Blaze.
Trick question, Liam Entsman.
I'm taking Blaze all day. Blaze to me is probably the best goalie in the history and maybe the sport. He's up for debate. I mean, you look at the legends. Drew Adams was a legend for the Long Island Lizards. I loved him, watching him back in the day. But I mean, Blaze is just so steady. Great guy. Great all around. Just been doing it for so long. And
it's Blaze.
It's Blaze.
Any other answer is ludicrous.
Yeah.
I do think that
Dobson has a chance to probably get goalie of the year, though. Honestly,
for sure, 100%. And you know, it comes down to you have to say who would you want in the big game. You have to, and whatever your answer is to that, that's your answer to this question.
I agree.
It's Blaze.
No, it's interesting. Now, before we move to transfer portal, quick question for you guys. Going off the kind of awards, the Jim Brown Award is essentially the tour time for the PLL. Who do you think wins it this year? I know it's really early.
Who should the MVP should have been?
Duke's is
love it.
Twisters.
2 zeros. Who do we think though? Right now, if you could pick, I feel like it's pretty. It's definitely a
there's
landslide.
levels.
There's levels to this.
I mean, the top 3.
You got Miles Dubois. You got. I don't, dude, you could make the argument that someone on the Atlas have like 2 out of the top 3.
Yeah, I mean, with Shelley and Teat, like.
I mean, it's probably going to be Teat right now, just from a point standpoint.
You know who I want to put? You know who I want to put some respect on? I think Michael Sowers.
I was just going to say Michael Sowers to me is a guy who I think the way he's been playing, he's total difference.
But is it the same situation as we kind of said for the Touraton race, where if your team doesn't perform and do that well or go far in the playoffs, does that affect you getting the Jim Brown Award?
For sure.
For sure. It definitely affects. I mean, what Michael Sowers and Kieran McArdle too has been unbelievable for the Waterdogs.
He's probably the most underrated guy in the league.
So underrated. He's been doing it forever. The St. John's legend.
He's the perfect 13th best player in the league. He's so much better than you think he is, but you're like, all right, he's not like a household name. That's why the Waterdogs rock.
He's also been doing it for so long.
So long.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
The Iron Man.
I'd like to see
Iron
where
Man.
the MVP race goes to me because I'd also like, obviously Teet's been phenomenal, but he's on a great team with so many weapons. Like,
Yeah.
I'd like to see the MVP kind of go like think about if you took Michael Sowers off the Waterdogs, how much of a different team.
Yeah,
it'd be.
definitely.
They're still.
No, they're still good, but I think
I don't think the Waterdogs ever get enough respect for how good they are.
I agree, but I think taking Sowers off the Waterdogs versus taking Teet off the Atlas, I think there's a bigger impact taking Sowers off the Waterdogs for sure.
Yeah.
See, I think if you just plugged and played both of them, like if
Be
Teet just came to the Waterdogs, it would be.
Yeah.
I don't know. We're saying like. Take Tom Brady off the Patriots, put Peyton Manning on there.
Yeah,
and then take
you're
Peyton
right,
Manning.
you're right,
Yeah.
you're right, you're right.
All right, but that's going to wrap up this past weekend's games for PLL. Onto the transfer portal, though. Jack Dowd, Salisbury to Maryland. This is a big one. I obviously met him doing the kind of all-access inside look into Salisbury's program. This guy was elite. You know, started his career at Furman, then went to Salisbury. Now he's taking, I think, his 6th year at Maryland. Great guy, 6'3", midfielder, 3-time All-American. Are we excited about that?
He's headed down the road to College Park.
Kid's staying
The
local
Seagull.
in Maryland.
Yeah, I mean,
he's from Florida, though. So, truthfully, I thought he was going to go to Jacksonville.
Really?
Yeah. And I was talking to the Jacksonville coach, and it was between Maryland, Penn State, and Jacksonville. He took Maryland to stay in-state. Do we think Maryland, early predictions, could get back to the Final Four?
I mean,
It's never out
you
of the
basically
question.
write it in Sharpie with Tills every other
Yeah,
year.
who's the coach?
Dr. John Tillman.
Yeah, I'll
Tills.
take that.
Yeah.
I'll take
Yeah.
Tills. I'll take the Terps all day.
Yeah.
For the championship weekend. You really, like you said, you can't count Maryland out. Like
Yeah, you
ever.
can't.
Yeah, and Miles, like, do you think personally that this cements the fact that Salisbury dynasty is dead? Losing
Yeah,
Jack Dowd, is that the nail in
So
the
is he
coffin
a-
for
Yeah,
the
like,
Salisbury
the fact
dynasty?
that he's not taking a 6th year, he's
Yeah.
not looking for a ring with Salisbury.
So Jack Dowd was 2024 D3 midfielder of the year.
Yep.
Is that good?
3-time All-American, 261 career points.
Dead.
It's
Yeah.
crazy
His
how
whole
inflated points can
reputation now is just he's a loser. I guess they lost.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
Washington
he's a
Lake.
loser, I
His
guess.
reputation is shattered. Even
His
though
reputation
that
is
his first step.
shattered.
His career
And
dead.
he has a ring.
Yeah.
yeah,
His career dead.
Yeah,
his
his
career's
career's absolutely
dead.
over.
Just from a kid that goes to Stevens.
So he's going to
Tech.
Maryland where he could get like another runner-up finish. Like,
Yeah. No, yeah, good for him. Excited to see. Excited to see a D3 guy go to power.
There we
do you root for D3 guys?
Yeah, all the time.
Okay, we're
Cross
just making
for
sure.
air.
Do we
We're
have
worried about you.
do we have the Stevens Tech schedule out for next year yet?
Dude, you
No,
guys should
I don't
schedule
think
Are the Seagulls on it?
schedule Salisbury.
no.
Schedule Salisbury. Give me your
They would
dates.
have
no.
a mercy rule with that game.
Yeah.
Anybody from Salisbury,
just
hit
not
me up.
true.
I'll set it up.
What do you
I
think the
think
score
there's-
would
I
be,
think
guys would
Miles?
get
Miles,
destroyed
Miles, what would the
by
score be?
Salisbury.
Stevens versus Salisbury.
I don't know. It
What's your
depends on
stat
what our
line?
roster is.
You
What's
guys
your
would
stat
get
line?
destroyed.
I don't know. We're within 5 goals, 10 goals.
No, you're not.
And what's Miles Dubois' stat?
Oh, my stat line depends on if I play or not. I'd have to get on the field first before.
Well, in this hypothetical, you'd be starting.
All right, I'm starting at right attack.
Whatever
Wherever you
position
want.
Answer the question. God, not the SAT. Let's go.
I don't know, a goal and 2 assists. I don't know.
Okay, next question. We got Andrew Greenspan.
This is heinous.
Am I starting at right attack?
gotta
That
look
was
at
the
this.
I mean,
dumbest-
am I starting at right attack or am
You
I at
start
X?
where-
That's going to really be like, dude.
Well, I
answer
haven't
the
started,
question.
1, and 2, starting at Salisbury. All right, well,
I gotta
obviously my
fact-
poll probably is going to play D1 lacrosse in 2 years. Like,
Oh, gosh.
I don't know. What are you talking about? I don't know.
It was a hypothetical. It was supposed to be a
That was
fun
terrible
question.
hypothetical.
You totally
Terrible.
ruined it.
Miles,
Totally ruined it.
Miles, you guys lost 20-7 to Tufts, and you're telling me you're within 5 goals of Salisbury.
Holy shit.
Miles, I didn't even know that stat.
Oh,
Well,
my
Tufts won the
God.
national championship.
Facts. Facts.
And who won it the year before? Salisbury.
Yeah, but we're
Okay,
not
actual
playing that.
final score: Salisbury versus Stevens.
I'm not giving you a number.
I will.
Get blown
We're winning
out.
by 1.
I will.
They
Yeah.
get
Say
blown
it,
out.
dude. Who you got?
We're winning by 1.
Stevens 20, Salisbury 19,
19.
overtime.
Screw it.
2019, Cabrini.
Hell yeah.
Let's go. Another notable cat, Andrew Greenspan. This guy was electric out of high school, number 35 ranked in the 23 class. Was a freshman at South Bend in Notre Dame. Is entering the portal.
Yeah, he
this was a surprising
no,
one
yeah,
for me.
He was a very highly rated recruit, number 35 player. Kind of took that like third string role this year for Notre
Yeah.
Dame. He does have a no contact in the portal tag on him. So
What does that exactly?
Yeah, what
mean
does
for
that mean?
fans?
that means that schools cannot reach out to you. Only you.
You pretty
can
much
reach
know
out
where
to
you're going.
schools. Yeah, you
Yeah.
pretty much know where you're going, but also like you're not getting emails from like Stockton, and you have to respond like, "Hi, Mister, whatever." Like, I appreciate your email, but I am going somewhere else. Like, I don't know. I think he ends up at.
Hey, let's not forget about. I don't want to talk too much on the Stevens slander. Wasn't Hoagie almost going to go there for his 5th year?
They reached out to me in the portal. Yeah.
Yeah, he was talking to Stevens a little
Yeah.
bit.
So
They reached out to
don't
me in
hate
the
on
portal.
the
I'm not
Ducks
hating
too
on the
much.
Ducks at all.
So you went in with a contact tag.
I didn't put a no contact tag.
Okay,
Anyone
yeah.
could
Who
reach
were the
out.
schools that reached out to you? What was the portal like?
The portal was different. It was definitely an interesting process. I entered like a random Tuesday night in like March. Woke up the next morning, had an email from Fairfield. I was like, oh, let's see where this goes. Then I got an email from Mercer.
Well, no, we got to backtrack a little bit. You entered
Mercer
in March
Hive.
to play football.
Yeah, no. So I entered with football. So I entered with a football tag in there because my original plan was to try and see if I could play football somewhere. I kicked in high school, and I just kind of wanted to give it a shot. So I entered. You can't go into the football portal since I'm a current lacrosse player. So you have to enter the lacrosse portal, but it'll have like a tag on it that says like intends to play football. On it, just so like some coaches might be like, oh, never mind, but some coaches will still reach out. I go in the portal. Next day, I wake up, get email from Fairfield and Mercer like right away, like 9 a.m. I'm like, whoa, this is kind of cool. I'm getting like coaches reaching out to me. Then it kind of goes like dry for like 2 or 3 weeks. Then you're like, all right, this is like getting tough. Then Coach Galloway from Jacksonville reached out to me after that, and then kind of from there, Manhattan, and it kind of just went down that kind of spiral.
Are you sending emails, or are you just
I
getting emails?
personally did not send any emails, no.
Okay.
Because originally, at first, I was hitting it just for football, so I didn't email anyone for lacrosse. I emailed a bunch of people for football. But I didn't email anyone for lacrosse because that wasn't like my main goal at that point. And then kind of once I realized I wasn't getting a football opportunity that I liked, the only schools that really reached out to me for football were like Stony Brooks of the world, and that just didn't really fit what I kind of wanted to do.
Did you ever think about playing both?
No, I didn't think of playing both. Mercer actually reached out to me for both. Mercer football reached out to me, was like, you can play lacrosse too, but that just didn't really spark my interest. I could just from a locker room perspective, it's so different going into a football locker room for lacrosse.
I can't imagine Hoagie in a football locker room, I'll be honest.
If I didn't get the school that I love for football, like my ultimate goal was like, oh, let's see if I can, I don't care if I'm playing. I'm on the sideline of Virginia Tech, like running out that tunnel, like let's go, baby. Like that was like the goal.
I love that.
But,
that would've been sick.
Yeah, but the portal's cool. It's interesting, but eventually, no, I kind of didn't get what I liked with football, and then started going down that
kids
lacrosse
of
rabbit hole,
Jasper.
No, shout out to Jaspers. Honestly, best decision I've made. Love the Bronx.
Let's
love the
go.
Bronx. Let's go. It's
Let's go.
awesome.
But
Shout out to
Greenspan's
Jaspers. Let's go.
in the portal, no contact.
Yeah, I think he's going to go to probably Virginia or Duke, if I had to guess. Duke's losing Naso. They don't have too much depth behind them. And then Virginia, they brought in a multitude of guys last year, and they kind of had that revolving door at face-offs. They didn't do bad last year, but, I mean, Greenspan was a high recruit who has 3 years left. I'm surprised he left just because I felt like he should have waited out. Lynch's got 1 more year this year, and then hopefully take over Notre Dame for 2 years, but you don't know what the deal is.
It'll be interesting. And another notable transfer, our boy, Owen Murphy.
Yeah.
Dr. Murph.
I
Bad.
got a prediction.
What do you mean bad?
Dude, he was, 2 years ago, the 2022 year, when he
Yeah.
visited Johns Hopkins and he was like waving to, or he did some
No,
celebration
he
to
went to
Hopkins.
Hopkins his freshman year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Tough.
Yeah.
Tough
Yeah.
look looking back at that.
I know. But he's such a good player, though. I just
He's
don't
a
know
straight
if it, was,
shooter.
if it was the best fit
got
at Maryland.
I got
Obviously, that 22 year, he finished 7th in points when they went undefeated.
Yeah.
But I don't know where he's going to end up.
Ready for my where he's gonna end up?
Where?
He's gonna be a Boston Terrier. I'm calling it. He's a math guy. He's gonna join BU.
Really?
That's my
He's a
prediction.
mask guy. I knew that.
That's
Avon
my-
Old Farms.
I think he's gonna go to Boston. They had Sam Burns from Ohio State, another big body
legend.
midfielder.
Big body
BU.
Burns.
Matt Fritz is down there. The
Yes.
old buddy the elf. Shout out Miles Baliotti if you're watching.
The legend. I see Dr. Murph. I see him going ACC. I mean, we've seen kids like that have been playing. He's already been at 2 Big Ten schools. He's not going to go to another Big Ten school. I don't see him going Ivy. I like the Boston route because
Well, he
he's
can't
from
go
there.
Ivy.
Yeah.
Why, you say
sorry,
too
not
dumb?
Ivy.
Fifth
You
year.
can't take a fifth year in Ivy League school.
Can't? That's a
You don't
wild thing to not be able to
Come
do.
on, 2 zeros.
I just thought that. Why can't you? You can't go to grad school?
Dude, you see all the Ivy Leagues transferring out?
Yeah, I know, but I didn't know you couldn't transfer in. I just thought nobody ever wanted to. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I was just like, if you were doing a fifth year, would you want to be like, all right, now's the time to go to Harvard?
Yeah.
So I was always like, nobody wants to do
you
that.
Expect
point.
Dan,
That's a good point.
You expect Dan Shea to walk into admissions and be like, look, we got this guy jacked out from Salisbury. Like, let's slip him under that rug. He's going to look in your face and laugh.
Going to Salisbury for 4 years to just go to Yale.
I love that. But Murph, if you're out there watching, best of luck to you in the portal. Greg Campese, LSM for Harvard, transferring to Notre Dame, and a couple other guys.
Interesting one for me, Jackson Clay from High Point of Michigan. His brother was a fifth year this year.
Yep.
Bryce Clay came from Lehigh. He had a great year from Michigan.
Yeah.
See how he looks. Also, Ethan Bernard, face-off from Bowdoin to Rutgers. He had a great career at Bowdoin, going 60% all 4 years. Rutgers
pretty cool.
needs face-off guys. That'll be a good one. Interesting transfer, though, that I came out of this. Jackie Moan. Transfer from Rutgers to Penn State as a guy who was like an impact player for Rutgers last couple of years.
I remember broadcasting this past year.
I'm just curious at what like that.
And he was a good guy. Like, obviously saying his name a lot, Ross Scott, and in that
But that's
Rutgers
one of those
squad.
transfers, like, it's tough when you go from Rutgers to Penn. Like, why are you leaving Rutgers to go to Penn State?
Yeah.
He is a New Jersey kid. I played him in high school at 100 Central. Jersey kid. Played at Rutgers pretty much his whole career.
Yeah.
Wasn't like the star there, but was a contributor all 4 years.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of those guys I feel like kind of leaves a question mark in your head at why he did transfer.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
And then Sandoval hitting Princeton
Dr.
and Nova.
Sandoval,
Dr.
Princeton
Sandoval.
to Villanova. I made a video there, deep diving the Princeton lacrosse and what that school is all about. I got a chance to work out with the Princeton boys. Sandoval has a rack called the meat rack.
Who's at that meat rack?
It
Pause.
was
Was it
Gotta be
there?
McMeekin.
no, it was McMeekin. It was the Pelkinator. It was Sandoval, and it was Patrick Ridgewood. Fuck, why am I blanking on his last name?
John Dunphy?
John Dunphy.
John Dunphy is a
John
meat
Dunphy's
rack?
on the
John
meat rack?
Dunphy's in the remake.
Hey,
And
respect
Sandoval
Dunphy.
goes by
That's
the
crazy. Wow.
meat
I was
rack
not expecting
CEO. So, love that.
You
Shout
know
out.
what he has?
What?
He has GCG.
He is a Garden
City
City
Grizz.
Grizz.
He does. Did you ever play with him?
Nah, he was a Chaminade kid.
Dukes versus
yeah.
Dukes versus Sandoval, 5 face-offs. Who's winning?
I'm gonna go with that guy.
Okay, yeah, good call. On to the next new
PLL
news.
face-off rules with the pole.
New news, though. High Point, obviously, or Torpy left High Point to go to Brown. High Point hires Johns Hopkins assistant John Crawley.
Can I take this?
Yeah.
I talked to a couple of High Point players in Charlotte, and I was like, "What's your guys' move?" Because seriously, it felt like a critical point for High Point. You have a little bit of momentum after the Torpy era. You had some juice to it. You had the Asher Knowlton years, and you're just like, wow, could this all die? Could they become like a Marquette in a way?
Yeah.
Where you had a lot of juice, you had a lot of momentum, then it just gets killed by one hire. What a hire by High Point.
I love this hire. I love that. I'm
nailed
long on
Babe
John.
Ruth called shot, bang.
Yeah. I think this is big. I think this is huge.
Huge.
But truthfully, I never thought he was going to leave Hopkins. He went to Hopkins, had a great career. I didn't think he was ever going to leave. I thought he was going to be in the assistant role to try to get the head role.
Yeah, to me, the biggest thing that this shows now, just from a standpoint of coaching and moves, what is that?
Money talks.
To me,
What do you think his salary is?
At High Point?
Yeah.
You got money there.
Like above 3?
I don't know how
Above
much college.
3?
Yeah.
I don't know how much.
300?
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind?
I don't think
You
it's
think I'm
that
wrong?
I don't think it's that
Yes.
crazy.
So low or high?
That's
That's
insanely high.
That
Is it?
insanely high.
Oh,
Are you kidding
I'm
me?
with you, Pelks. I was gonna
That's
say I don't know how
insane.
much I don't know how much a college coach, lacrosse coach makes.
Dude,
So
that
this
is
all this be guessing.
insanely high.
250 to 400. I was gonna guess.
Oh, I think like
That is
200.
insane.
Yeah, can we get a fact check?
I
here,
wish he went to
Hoagie?
a public
Dude,
school so we could see.
$300,000 to coach at High Point.
High
Dude,
Point
High
has
Point
money.
invests a lot into their programs. Like, don't get me wrong there.
Are you looking up their endowment?
What's the Manhattan coach make?
I don't know.
Imagine you just outed him. That would be
I
so
don't know.
great.
I have no
Well, I
idea.
mean, all
I don't know, yeah.
all the schools are the public schools. It's all public. You can go look up all
Yeah,
what
but
I'm
those.
doing
High
right
Point's
now.
not a public school; it's a private.
I know, so that's why I'm
Yeah,
gonna be curious to see what
hard.
you can find.
Let's see
But I
here.
like this hire. Like I said, John Crawley.
Okay,
is
all right. I'm looking.
All right,
I'm looking
High
at a.
Point
I'm
right
looking at a
here
public
on their
university
website.
right now
This
in
is
the
probably
vicinity
a
of the
little
Midwest.
lowball, but they said Torpy made $80,000.
That's so
No
low.
chance.
That's not right.
I'd
That's
say
not right.
0% chance.
I would say 0%
okay,
chance.
I agree with that. I don't think I agree he made more than that. But 300,000, there's literally no chance in hell he made 300.
I
First
think
year,
I
no
think he's
way.
making. I think anywhere from 250 to 400.
That's ridiculous.
That's insane.
And I would say now, after seeing something else,
insane.
after something else just came across my desk about a certain public university in the Midwest, and the guy
was
makes
gonna bring it up.
330.
I knew he was coming there.
We're talking about the Ohio State
That's
It's
the
a
question.
public university.
What is that?
The Ohio State coach.
Yeah.
That's justified. That's the
100%.
Big Ten football school money. Where is
Yeah, but he's been there for how many
High
years
Point.
now?
Where does High Point get money? It's all in
They're
the
not-
it's all in the trust funds,
They're
baby.
they're not paying their coach.
I don't know. I wouldn't out
I
it
think
though. And also,
250.
If
too,
they paid
like,
their coach $300,000, they would have
250.
Lars Tiffany standing at the front desk.
Dude, I don't know. I think you're underestimating how much like Lars Tiffany
There's
gets.
no
How much does
way.
the Syracuse coach make?
All right,
I
let's
think
look
it's like
at-
a million. I think it's $1 million, right?
get off the show.
Miles,
Leave
are you-
right now. Get off the
Miles,
show
Miles,
right
Miles,
now.
stop.
Seriously,
I heard
leave.
that Gait made a lot.
Miles, are you actually?
This is so bad.
Let me stop. Are you genuinely serious?
I heard that Gait made up to $1 million. That's what I heard.
Walk off.
That's what I heard.
This is such, dude. You watch lacrosse.
That's what I heard. That's
You
what I
watch
heard.
lacrosse.
That's what I heard.
Dude, you are the freaking best.
That's what I heard. What? That's what I heard.
You are the best.
Wait, can you look that up?
Yeah,
Dude, I'm at a loss for words.
We have to.
Miles, are you actually serious?
That's what I heard.
no
I
way
don't
he-
know
Who'd
if
you
it's
hear
true.
that from?
Oh
Let's
my
hear the
god.
source.
Oh my god.
Dude, there's
He makes
no
$1 million.
No, are you serious?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
No, you're not.
No, I'm
He
not.
does not make a, Miles,
How much is
are
it?
you out of your
$1
mind?
million. Oh my god.
How much does Gait get paid?
I'm at
This
a
is
literal
This
loss.
is so funny. The third link is Gait does not make $1 million.
See,
he got a
it
hefty
was
6 figures.
rumored that he makes $1 million.
All right, next. That's what. All right, Guy Fieri's tweet about our boy Greg Lang. What do we think about that? Ohio State guy.
Lang getting the hammer.
Greg Lang, Ohio State guy. That was big. Oh, Guy Fieri's cousin is our boy Greg Lang. Greg Lang, big shout out to you. And let's not forget, Colin Kirst rocking the Cabrini jersey.
He had that Cabrini jersey on.
What do
I
we
saw
think
that.
about that, Dukes? Did you see that rolling in with the Cabrini
Ness would be
jersey?
proud.
It was sad he didn't wear Nestler's jersey.
Wait, was it?
No.
No, it wasn't.
Oh, I
Whose
thought it
jersey
was.
was that?
I don't know. I bet you. I know my boy Nestler had his hands on that though.
I might think Nestler like walked in the equipment room and was just like, "Yo, like, just give me the box." And he's just repping different numbers. I think I've seen him wear like 3 different numbers at different events.
For sure. I think he played for like 7 years. He like left, came back.
We were at Dukes and I were at a training camp up there in Albany. Nestor is going to be the guy that in the next 20 years continues to talk about Cabrini Lax in his heyday.
He's a legend.
The national championship. Oh, we're never going to stop hearing it.
We
No,
need a
he's the GOAT.
Cabrini Lake Placid team or something.
Oh my god,
that would be
legit.
iconic.
That would be legit.
So legit.
And I think the last new news aspect that I was surprised about, Hoagie told me this live and I didn't even believe it, Ajax Zapatello will join the Dartmouth lacrosse staff as their third assistant.
Yeah, I like that hire.
It's crazy.
It's a good
I
hire.
was making a video about the Whip Snakes, documentary about how they'll be this year. I was in the car with Ajax talking about what he'll do as his next route for his job. Coaching really wasn't even in the question. And now he's part of a D1 staff. His brother goes to Dartmouth as well. So
He'll end up coaching on that Terp staff.
Yeah, yes,
Just
yes.
like you see
Just
all
like
the Bernhards
Bernhardts.
came up there.
Yeah.
He'll be on the Terp staff in a couple of years.
Yeah.
Ajax, great guy. I think he's going to get into this and love it. His brother's on Dartmouth. It's a good place to start in an Ivy League program. I think it's a good fit.
Yeah, I think it's a great
Where's
fit.
Dartmouth? And joins Logan Wisnauskas on that staff. Where's Dartmouth in 5 years?
Dude, I love Sean Kerwin. I just want to put that out there.
I
think he's the wizard of the sport right now.
Yeah.
I see them.
But that
Dude,
brought up my point. Yeah, you can continue.
No, I just think like Ivy League and what's his name? Busick's doing at Cornell.
Andy Shea.
Shea at Yale. Obviously Torpy at Brown now, and then Dartmouth. Like they could be the new, not the new, but like they could be up there with ACC and Big Ten year after year in the next coming years.
I don't see it
In
that
5
way.
years, you don't see that.
No, not at all.
I think he's a wizard who will bring in underdeveloped talent to Dartmouth and be able to overperform with the talent.
They'll overperform. I agree with that, but they're not.
I
gonna
think
ever
you're
be
lower on the Ivies than most people.
I'm not lowering the Ivies. I think that they can be a team that maybe can challenge into the middle or high tier of the Ivy. Are they ever going to be like a legit team to like make a run in the tournament? No.
I think they could. I think they could.
never
A
have
Final
been, they
Four.
never will be.
A Final Four could
You
definitely
don't
be.
think with their staff they won't?
Nope.
See, like you were even
Mitch,
saying like
Mitch, they've never had success in their whole history. Think about the teams they're competing against. They're competing against Matt Madeline at Princeton, who's built 2 straight Ivy League championships, a Final Four run the year before that. Cornell.
Well,
Look at that-
sure. Sean just got there.
Yeah, I just don't see this.
You-
It's a hard sell to get kids from all the Ivy Leagues. If you're recruiting in the pod of the Ivy Leagues,
Yeah, it's
Dartmouth is
definitely
not
hard.
at the top tier of academics, and they're high up in New Hampshire up there. It's harder to recruit up there
Yeah.
to get kids to want to come up there. If I'm an Ivy League kid and I want to go Ivy, I'm probably going to every other Ivy League school before I look at Dartmouth.
But he has also so many things that he brings personally to the table. He could just be like,
I
yo,
agree, and that-
yo, look who I coach. I coach Matt Moore. Do you want to play in the PLL? I coach every top
Yeah,
player
like
that's in the
Doc,
PLL right
but
now.
same-
Shelly. And even
Andy
you talk
Shea
to,
can say
I've talked to
that, like-
Shelly about
I don't
it.
know though. Like Sean Kerwin has won a lot of national championships as an assistant coach.
Yeah.
and he's also developed
I'm not
a lot
doubting
of
Sean
top
Kerwin.
top.
Also, there's a lot of Ivy money up there.
Yeah.
Get some money for some
I also-
facilities. I don't know what it looks
Dartmouth
like.
has like now like that they could pay athletes as like players because like that lawsuit.
Yeah.
I don't know the exact like they have like a union or something.
I don't know exactly.
Yeah, I don't
but-
know exactly what it is, but I don't know if he could work that into his advantage. But you look at just like all the Ivies, like now even like Byrne at
Yeah.
Harvard, I love as a coach. Now, like when you were saying last week about kids when they're getting recruited, they don't look at Ivies. They look at like the bigger programs first, like the.
No, I said they look at Ivies now. They didn't look at
like
Ivies.
yeah, because I always
That's a fact.
I always thought that like back in the day, all the top tier talent that I kind of remember from like Long Island, they always like looked Ivy more than anything. And if
Oh,
they,
really?
And if they,
Interesting. I thought it was opposite.
And if they couldn't get into the Ivies, they usually always went to like
ACC.
an ACC.
Maybe it's just our class originally. You're like the 2019 class, like following that and being in that class. To me, during that first recruiting summer, all those kids were not looking at Ivy Leagues. They were going to Maryland's. They were going to like those kind of schools off the bat. Whereas now the kids, I think,
young
like,
guys,
the number one kids like the Nate Kabiris are going to like Princeton.
Yeah.
It is just Dartmouth just is a weird position because I do hear what you're saying, but again, it comes down to I don't know if Dartmouth will be able to do what a Yale does, where they'll just grab like the number 8 kid from Chaminade off the board.
And that's the Hoagie's point. I get where you guys.
But Dartmouth could get the number 96 guy in the IL top 100.
Could Dartmouth have a Cinderella run and a good run like Lars had at Brown, bringing Brown to a Final Four one year? Absolutely. Are they going to be a top Ivy League team and be considered like a Yale Cornell? Absolutely not.
I think it's in the cards.
What do you think, Gibbs?
Yeah, I don't think. I agree with you. I don't think that it's in the cards.
Yeah. Dartmouth dynasty dead.
We'll see. We'll see here soon.
No, one more thing.
Yeah, keep going.
One more thing. If you can recruit someone to Ithaca, New York, New Hampshire can't be that hard.
That is true, though. I mean, Hoagie and I played there, and we didn't see much.
Yeah, but Cornell's got the rich history of what that program means. National championship, legendary players. It's a different.
But I think Sean can build that up. Shout out to Kerwin for making that move and building that up. Now to potentially my favorite part of the whole episode, the Dukes Pick'em punishment.
About time we got him in the chair.
Just started watching, haven't watched the previous episodes, Dukes, start making your way to the beautiful chair. Yeah, come on.
Get in that chair, Dukes. Get in the
So
hot
we did
seat.
Pick'em for the.
Help me.
It's your time. Go. Let's go.
Miles, help me.
Hopefully Dukes isn't sitting in this twice.
I know. We'll see. But if you guys,
Miles probably already like, oh, I can't wait for the next one.
I'm currently sitting in it. So.
But we did Pick'ems for the D1 NCAA tournament, and Dukes obviously lost. So his punishment now is to read something us 3 co-hosts have created, a sort of a testimony to people that Dukes is a fan of.
What?
Yeah. So. I sent it to you on your phone. Do you want to show it up there?
Can we get it up there?
Okay, yeah. I'll text.
Here, Dukes, we'll get it on there.
Should I just wait? My phone's over there.
No,
sit
you
down,
can.
sit
You
down.
just,
We'll get
just
on the
please
screen.
sit down. Please sit down. You're in punishment.
I'm
Matt,
excited for
producer
this
Matt,
one.
I'm going to text it to you right now. Does that work?
Or Mitch, you want to just put it in the dock and he'll refresh?
Oh, I just texted it.
Dukes.
No, this isn't that bad.
Dukes, what do you think it is? Do you know what it is?
Are you nervous at all?
Nervous? Oh, what? The only person nervous in this room right now should be Miles after the way that he was talking about how I'm going to get the punishment after 2
Gait's
weeks
salary.
of picks.
And I went 1-3 this week, so I got to.
Oh, here it is.
Oh, this is good. You guys wrote this?
We wrote this.
Poetic.
We wrote this. I need you firm. I need you professional.
Sit up in that chair.
Sit up in the chair.
Sit up in that chair.
I need you with some juice and some passion, okay?
And say it with your heart.
Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Just read whatever?
No, you have to read it from the
thing.
start.
That's good because you guys already spelled his name wrong. Dear Coach Kevin Warren and Coach Joe Bresci, I hope you're doing well. I want to apologize for my recent comments about the Georgetown and UNC men's lacrosse programs. I said things that were not true or fair, like suggesting that Coach Bresci should be fired for going below 500 in ACC play and calling Georgetown an unserious lacrosse program. I also regret saying that UNC's program is a joke and that Duke reloads talent while UNC reloads excuses. I realize now how wrong I was. Coach Warren, whoever you may be, Coach Warren, your team's 6 straight Big East championships show how great and consistent your program is.
Yes, sir.
Georgetown is a better program just in your tenure than any team Garden City High School could ever dream of producing. Missing championship weekend should not diminish the incredible accomplishments of your program. You have built a powerhouse that competes at the highest level year in and year out and should be considered a blue blood in our sport.
Amen.
Coach Bresci,
I've been waiting for this.
leading UNC to a national championship in 2016 proves your incredible leadership and dedication. Your program has a rich history of success and continues to be a top contender year after year.
Facts.
That's facts.
Facts-a-roni on that.
Facts.
That is all because of how good of a coach you are and how well you develop talent.
Keep going. Keep going.
Beating Duke at any point, even if it's just once, should secure your seat as a head coach of the Tar Heels for life.
For life. Facts.
Regardless of the overall record, which is really bad.
My favorite paragraph.
I'm really sorry for my disrespectful remarks. I am a very sad and troubled human. I'm childish, and I now understand how hardworking and talented both programs are. I could only dream of being good enough to play at a program as good as yours. To show my support, I promise to back Georgetown and UNC Lacrosse throughout the next year. I'm willing to do anything I can to help both teams succeed and look forward to cheering on their successes. Please accept my sincerest apologies. Sincerely, 𝐷00GS.
Yes, sir.
Coach Bresci, I hope you're watching that.
Coach Bresci.
That definitely got
Coach
sent
Warren.
to him.
How we feel about that?
Dude,
Initial thoughts.
Does that come right from the heart, Dukes?
I'm good. I got to back Owen Duffy. This is great.
So what does he mean by showing unwavering support?
Yeah,
you
yeah. What
donated
does that
money
mean?
to the
Like,
program?
Who's this Kevin Warren?
Oh,
Was
relax.
that the commissioner of the Big Ten I had to apologize for?
Spell check.
Spell check. Jasper Education. More importantly, though, next season, do we potentially have you rocking like a UNC Georgetown jersey
Are
every
we
episode?
donating on Given Day?
Dude, I'm good with that. I'm ready to back UNC.
Really?
I'm ready to back
What about
UNC.
Georgetown?
I mean, for sure, but you guys put in better tenure than any team in Garden City could ever dream of producing. Look up 2012.
We knew it was coming.
Natty champs.
All right, I like that. And again, we're doing pick'ems right now for the PLL season, and you guys can get involved by letting us know what our punishment should be after the end of the PLL season. One of us is going to have to do a punishment. Let us know in the comments below what you want that to be. And now on to Mitch's mailbox, where we got producer Matt on the ones and twos going to hook us up with some voicemails.
I love Mitch's mailbox.
Well, again, us four have not heard of these voicemails yet. We don't know what they're going to be, so it's going to be all blind reaction. And again, if you guys want to get involved, call the number on your screen. Leave your wildest, most heinous lacrosse take, and they will get played on this show. And we're super excited here. So Matt's going to get it rolling here with Mitch's mailbox, episode 7. Just pick one, and we'll get it rolling.
Hey guys, what's up? My name's Ben, class of 2025. I'm from Mount Pleasant, Michigan. Go
Hey.
Blue! Longtime viewer and subscriber of the Mitchell Pehlke YouTube channel. First off, I want to say hashtag lint roller, hashtag bring back Emily Cole, hashtag forgot this suit, hashtag bring back the mannequin,
Classic.
and hashtag 13 dryer sheets. As much as
Hell
I
yeah.
want to say I want the mannequin back, I'm going to have to agree with Miles on the Salisbury take. I think the
Hell
dynasty
yeah.
is over. Salisbury lacrosse is looking a lot like Ohio State football right now. Pretty non-existent. And I got to show my love to the Dayton Lacrosse Club. I think Dukes might be the all-time greatest podcaster
Wow.
in the history
Wow.
of all
What do you
podcasts.
say? What do you
Miles,
say?
what do you got to say?
I love this
guys
guy.
doing?
What do you say to that, Dukes?
This guy's
All-time
awesome.
podcaster.
You like
Hall of
him or
Fame.
Jake Pacino better?
The only issue is that he said hashtag bring back the mannequin. So I don't know why we
Take-
said
I
that.
look at
Take
the
the wins.
mannequin every time I'm in the studio.
Take the wins.
It's
Take
looking
the
at me.
wins.
Yeah, no,
Salisbury's
I'm going to
next.
take the win, though.
Take the win.
My guy. What was his name again? I got to give him a shout out.
Ben.
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 Go Blue.
Bend over. All-time podcaster.
All-time
Dude,
yeah,
it's going
yeah.
down as
I
a
mean,
goat.
clearly, if you make a statement like that, somebody was back in the Bresci firing. At least I have one
Yeah.
guy out there
Yeah.
who supported my take.
What I got two things. One, if you know the 13
Dryer
dryer
sheets.
sheets, you're all time.
You're an OG.
I got a cauliflower. It's a cauliflower. I just had 13. That's an all-time.
That's an all-time video.
That's like honestly my favorite one. You had like
The
not
TikToks.
a series, but you made so many. That was the
Yeah.
all-time one. Two, to say compare it to Ohio State football.
Yeah, I mean, dude.
to me, it's completely ridiculous for multiple reasons. You said you're a Michigan fan. These Michigan fans are insane. They win 3 games in 3 years cheating with Connor Stallions, and
Yeah.
they think that
Yeah.
they're world is colliding. They've won like 3 games in the past like 25 years.
I know.
against Ohio State.
It's bogus.
Yeah,
It's bogus.
Ohio State's never cheated.
Like,
We don't cheat. We're a
No,
faithful,
we
loyal
win,
program.
And you know what?
We bleed the scarlet
when
and gray.
The NCAA comes knocking at their door, and all those sanctions come down, and that little banner gets taken down.
Yeah, I
the
can't
Michigan
wait.
fans are going
I
to cry.
can't wait. I can't wait.
Ryan Day hiring his brother-in-law as like a private investigator to go after Michigan.
That never got true. They investigated it.
Never true.
I'll tell you one thing, though. The Michigan fans, I respect. They won the championship.
Yeah, they're nice
whatever,
guys.
But
They have their year, and we'll have the next 20.
But the problem is that they like come out here and they're like, woo, meaning like they've been an irrelevant football program for like the last 20 years. Before
And
the last
lacrosse?
3 years. What?
And lacrosse
for Michigan?
Yeah, I'm just asking questions. I'm a bias.
No, Michigan has been better than Ohio State in the past couple years. I will say it. It's facts.
We're 4-3 against them. I'll take my Golden Buckeyes all day.
Yes, we are 4-3 in that against them. But the past 2 years, it's been tough to watch. I'll be honest. But you got to give credit where credit's due.
Title turn. It's all right.
I thought you guys couldn't say the M word.
Well, we're analysts. We're here. We're doing our job. When the microphone's off, it's Team Up North. Team Up
now,
North.
when we're on here and we're subjective reporters,
Yes.
we have to say the name.
Yes, sir. Next voicemail. Big Zach. Oh, here we go.
Hey, Mitch, it's Zach. I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and my hot take is that Nat Slater-Laurent should be on the hottest of hot seats that there is. I don't think he's a great GM. I don't think he's a great coach. I think a lot of the big-time situations are times where he does not do well. I think that he also does not get the most out of the majority of the players on his team. I think you see a lot of guys like Jules Heinenberg and Miles Jones and Trent Troutner go to other teams and find good spots there, but I don't think that he gets the most out of his players.
It's weird.
Oh.
So that's
I think that
take.
it's. I don't know. No. I think that it's a critical year for the Red. But I am also team. I think the Redwoods are just a year early.
Really?
Yeah, I think they can make a couple more moves to solidify their defense. So I don't think it's fair anymore to say that Nat, after this year, his fate should be decided. But you got to start looking at it.
Yeah.
You got to start at least thinking about if they underperform.
My mind goes to like the first year when they went to the championship. Like, is that?
They barely snuck into the playoffs too.
Yeah.
And that's really, besides that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, has that really been it?
No,
They made a run last year a little bit to the semis.
This is what I'll give you a little.
Oh, God, here we go.
analogy.
Here we go. The
Give me-
Jasper.
I'll give you this. This is, you have, let's say we're at the beach. We got it.
Oh, God.
We got people coming over. You got guests coming over. They bring a little guest gift, maybe some donuts, some coffee cake, right?
Yeah.
Day 1, it tastes phenomenal, but it's like day 4, and it's a little stale, and you're like, but it like still kind of tastes good, so you still eat it. That's what they are to me.
Really?
Like Duke saying they're a year away, I think they're completely stale. I think everyone's got to go. I think they need to redo everything to me. Blow it up, build up. It's been the same team since the beginning for the majority of like the core group of guys, and they barely snuck close at the beginning, and it's been mediocrity ever since to me. They need to start with new coaching. They need a new young talent in there, and to me it's blow it up, redo it.
Coffee cake reference, folks. Interesting.
I might get chirped for that, but
Yeah, interesting.
it's almost you know what I'm trying to say.
What do we
like-
think about that,
Like
though?
Duke's just in there a year away. Like, to me, it's like I think Miles. I don't know what your thought process is. To me, it's stale. It needs to be blown up. We need a new star piece. It can't be Rob Pennell.
Dukes, are we still on the hot seat there?
It's weird. It's just I think offensively and from their midfield they're pretty fine. I think when you're looking at, and I think Jack Kelly's been one of the best goalies, and rightfully so. Team USA, one of the best goalies in the world at one point. I do think when you look at like the defense and backstop, you got to make a change if you're Nat, because I think Nat's a good coach. I think Nat, even if this doesn't work out with the Redwoods, you sometimes a new locker room and your voice can be heard again. But I do think that if he doesn't make a move with, in my opinion, to change his defense or to get somebody like a Liam Entenmann or that you're looking down the line, then you have to be reevaluated. But I think he's good enough to be the coach, GM. I was critical before, but I do think when you get someone like, you put Kastner with Arden Cohn, you get like a healthy Chris Fake, you have the option for Chris Conlon. That's pretty good.
Nat is also like in his career talking about like complete, like I like that. I just think it's like sometimes it's like even if you like the guy, like you got to make a tough decision.
Yeah.
That's just like life. That's business.
Yeah.
He's like 2 games under 500 in his career, so he's basically like a 500 coach in his whole
Yeah.
career. So they haven't been like bad enough where it's like get him out of here, blow it up. To me, it's just like I think it's time to like inject some new blood. They kind of seem like just a little like when you watch them, it doesn't look like they have like that like firepower. They kind of
And I want to just add this that I just put in my head. What does this sound like to you? If I said the names Arden Cohn, Chris Conlon, Chris Fake, what do they all have in common?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Who's the backup goalie right now that you think could be a starter in this league?
Ooh, Dukes.
Wow.
Wow, that would be sick. And that could turn.
And you were talking about like what was a lot of success that you found in this league with like the Whip Snakes. It was having a continuity defense that all went to Maryland, all knew the same verbiage, and they played behind a backstop that had a Maryland goalie. Now you look at what the Redwoods were really good at is they had a bunch of Notre Dame guys. They had Eddie Glazner, they had Garrett Epple, they had John Sexton from the Pole, and the first year they had Matt Landis. You put all that together, you could be looking at ND 2.0 if you could somehow get Entenmann on that roster.
Yeah, there's no way they get Entenmann on that roster, but
I think there's a
if
will.
Troutner lights it up and Pressler goes, like I think that's
You win a championship with Troutner, it's tough to be like, hey buddy, like
I don't think it's out of the question, V, at all. Like
I'd give it like a 10% chance.
Okay, I'm giving it way more than that. Miles, this guy's crazy.
Well, I think the biggest thing is
what's your percentage?
I don't know, 20%.
You only think it's 20?
All right, I was gonna say.
I think you're gonna say like 80. Or
I think
something.
Troutner's regardless of the year goes, I think they're rolling with Entenmann in the Atlas next year. They have to. Too much real estate invested in them, I think.
Trade talks.
Yeah, but you're saying right now,
if
Troutner, they win a championship and Troutner starts the rest of the game, they're gonna still get rid of Troutner.
Yes. Mitch, because Troutner can have a good year, but if you look at like the past couple of years, he's been streaky and up and down. You can't.
He's also been phenomenal at times.
He has been phenomenal at times, but this is kind of goes back to the point that we were talking about the other day. Like, you just took Liam Entenmann, who's seen as maybe the best goalie prospect you've seen in a while. You're just gonna go trade him to the Redwoods, and then he's an all-real goalie there for 10, 15 years. And Troutner.
Yeah, but to go back to Paul's point on Prez Row, like it's a different game than college.
Yeah,
Entenmann could not perform as much.
I don't see it.
I will also say this: is if you're the Redwoods and you don't have the year you won, you have the second pick in the draft, and all of a sudden you're looking
You'll
at
get Chris Cav or you'll get 𝐓𝐶 𝐋𝐿.
for sure. Do you need that for your offense?
To me, yeah, I need.
You have
Westberg's old.
You have Chris Gray, you have RP3, you have Ryder, you have Westberg. Like you have options, and you could go that route for sure. Or do you just say, hey, here's the second pick. I want your goalie. I want the goalie.
Yeah, but the Atlas are not going to need the second pick, which is Chris Cav or 𝐓𝐶 𝐋𝐿. Their team is so loaded offensively. The second pick is not going to entice them to move off Liam Entenmann. That's a fact.
It's going to be interesting.
That's a fact.
It's going to be interesting.
I mean, yeah.
That's a fact.
It's interesting.
Like they
because
don't. The Atlas are not going to be. They're not going to be like, "Woo, you need 𝐓𝐶 𝐋𝐿. Give me Enty." They're going to be like, "No, we're fine. We have Teach, Shelley, and Xander. Oh yeah. Also, we have Peyton Cormier. Oh yeah. Also, we have." Docs, like they have too much depth.
Nobody loves a Slim Reaper more than me, but it depends how you look at Chris Cav too. I mean, like again, what we say about this league is like, just because you are really good does not mean you are really good enough to be on this.
An elite goalie is way harder to come by than an elite offensive player in this league.
That's true.
So if you take Tim and trade Liam next year, and
they might just hold on to him too.
Yeah, and Tim doesn't have the best year next year, and you traded. Liam,
I know. It was just a fun hypothetical.
You're going to look like a clown.
Fun hypothetical, yeah.
You're going to look like a clown.
Okay. Next voicemail.
What's up, PLA Nation? My name is Trevor. I'm from Connecticut, and I believe that the Atlas are the best team to ever take the field for the PLL. That is a no-doubter in my brain. They even have the depth to prove that. And if anything were to go down towards the end of the year, I believe that it's going to be the Atlas right now.
No, as of right now,
I kind of like that.
As of right now, I think that's a really good take. I think those early Whip Snakes teams will have something to say about that because those teams were so deep and so elite. But to me, like you can't say that right now because the Atlas have to like win the championship, or this isn't even a discussion.
Okay, right now the 24 Atlas squad versus the 19 Whip Snakes. Who's winning? This squad right now versus peak 2019 Whip Snakes.
The 20 Whips.
I'm going to take the 20 Whips as
the
well.
20 Whips, not even the 19.
They're the same team, basically.
With Zed. MVP
the bubble,
Zed.
The bubble Whips with Zed.
Even like some of the teams like...
Well, 21 too. Like
21?
they didn't have a good year, but they still went to the championship.
And then 22, they had one of the best... Like, they had a healthy Brad Smith. They were really good.
Yeah.
They had they had Gutty. who came on strong for the Whips after that trade.
Earhart.
The Whips were in 22 was arguably in my head like their best team, but they just lost to the Dogs in the semis, which is just.
All right, so who do we pick? Let's just say 19 for now.
Well, I'm going to take the 19 Whips out of depth, and I have to see more of the Atlas. I think their trajectory is one of the best teams you've seen, but they have to do this now for the rest of the regular season, dominate.
Let's go down the line. So you got the Whips. Who do you got?
Whips. I got the Whips as well, just for now until we see if the Atlas win it all.
I need to see the Atlas beat the Waterdogs or the Archers.
Yeah, it might be too early to tell.
Too early to tell, but not a bad take.
Yeah, not a bad take.
We'll see. We'll see how that. We can reassess that in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we can kind of circle back there. Tasty.
What's up, boys? This is Tasty. Quick question. Why aren't we talking about Division II lacrosse? You got Miles with Division III. You got Hoagie and Mitch for Division I. You got Booth for NCAA, a.k.a. the laughing stock of lacrosse.
I'm going to say
get some Division II in there. A lot of great players, a lot of great news.
Just say it.
I mean, any
Good luck.
MCLA
Love
kid
what you
can
guys
play
are doing.
D2. any MCLA kid can walk onto any D2 roster.
I knew that
and
was
play.
coming.
Adelphi, the Garden City Grit.
You know, maybe like not like Adelphi or like Tampa, but like you want to talk like D2, like it's
D2 is not real.
like I firmly am of the belief that if you really love lacrosse, you can play anywhere.
Yeah.
Like if you really want to play.
I mean, also,
there's a D2 school for you.
A large number of D2 schools. Like the amount of actual schools that have D2 lacrosse.
Schools you didn't even heard.
And I'll be honest, I haven't done too much in the D2 era, so I will, I'll run into that. And I apologize for that.
And
shout out Carter Hillary, the Limestone legend.
That was crazy. Didn't we talk about Adelphi?
Garden City.
GCG. Adelphi. Lenore Ryan.
You got to say, though, about, what do you call it, the laughing stock of lacrosse, MCLA? Like, that's false. Like, I think BYU just won it, even that Texas squad could potentially beat a lot of D2 teams.
I'm firmly on
I agree with
a D1 MCLA team could for sure. I know for a fact, actually.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't like. I have eyes.
Even your squad, the Dayton boys, like they COVID year.
We're really good. Like we have players that I was like, oh, like wow, like I went from like Long Island, like travel across, being like, all right, I know like who good ball players are.
Yeah.
And I stepped on a Dayton, I was like, I have such low expectations. There were kids that could like actually like play, had athletic ability.
Yeah.
Some kids could for sure play D3, D1 lacrosse.
Yeah.
And then you play with some kids, you're like, oh, like that kid's really athletic, but he has no stick skills. But you could see like there was promise there if he grew up in a different area.
Yeah.
But when you talk about these like BYU Texas boys, they all could compete just athletically.
Yeah, definitely. It's interesting take
Against John St. Mary's Jones College. Yeah, I'm taking Texas over them all day.
There's no offense to D3 as well. Like there is in D3, D2, I think there's a top 15 proponent of D3, D2 lacrosse. It's like those boys can play.
Yeah.
Yeah, Miles, can you touch on this more as a D3 guy? So there's like kind of like where's like the cutoff between like.
Well, the first thing
I want to say, catch and throw.
Isn't there a huge
first
drop
thing
off?
I want to say is that he said that there's a lot of D2 teams. That's not true. D2 has the last amount of.
Oh, is it D3 teams?
Yeah, D3 has a lot. So D3 has like over 200 schools. Outside of the top 50, you literally like I would take most high school solid lacrosse
Riverside.
teams. That,
I'm
literally like Riverside is beating outside of the top 55. Division.
So Miles, have you played some of these teams that are like outside?
Yeah,
the top?
like they
can they not catch and throw? Can they not clear? Like
it's not that they can't catch and throw. They just like think about like the worst guys on your Ridgewood roster.
Yeah.
Think about the worst guys on your high school roster. Like they end up going to play like at these low level D3s. Maybe it was they started late in high school. Like I know Varro, he's a guy that started late, but he like just worked so much harder. His teammates would go play at like these schools, like Rosemont. Like they're
some Rosemont player is listening to this, just took his headphones off.
No, but it's like, but it's true.
But
like
for
they're
D3
just not.
though, like, and this is what I see from the outside. You have like I call it like the big three: the Salisbury, RIT, Tufts, like in their own category,
Cabrini.
and then you have like your 3 to 20,
like those,
and then everyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that how it is?
Yeah, literally. Like I mean, I would say 20. I would say to like 30 because there's like teams like Trinity and stuff that get like high level recruits. They just don't have good years. They haven't had good years recently. Yeah. So there is like the top 30 teams can play. D2, I think it's like top 15.
If that, maybe Miles. It might even be top 10.
But D2 does have good teams.
But D2 top 5 is like
That's where I'm like Tampa, Adelphi.
Tampa's insane.
Lenore Ryan, Adelphi.
Like Limestone was really good.
Limestone's good for a lot of years.
Lemoyne.
But it's hard
they
to
were
talk
good. Now
about
they're
D2.
D1.
Mercy
Going back to
College
this
is
guy,
good, too.
Yeah.
going back to this guy, it's hard to talk about D2 when you have 5 good teams in the entire league.
Like, look, like no offense to Pace, I'm pretty confident
No
I could have
offense,
played
I
at
couldn't
Pace.
name more than D2 schools besides what I just mentioned. Like, what is it, 6?
Yeah, you got
can't
6.
I can't go any farther. I could rattle off like 20 D3 schools.
And D2 doesn't help that all the schools are like not great academically. That's why it's so hard to like recruit for them.
That's
like
true.
Outside the top 30, like the schools are actually dead beat.
That's a good
like,
point.
academic
Adelphi
schools.
is the Ivy of the D2s. Garden City
On
Great.
the island. Let's
Long
go.
Island.
Who would
Next
win?
next
What about
voicemail.
the JUCO ball that you did out Long Island, Nassau?
Gritty. Dude.
Oh, did you go to Nassau?
Dude, I went to
That was
Nassau.
nice.
I went to Nassau, Onondaga, Hartford, and Essex, dude. It's a whole different ball game.
Nassau is special.
Nassau's
talk
gritty.
about D1 kids that just like were smoking too much dope or something.
Oh, dude, I could see it.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw it practice. I'm like, this looks legit. And like, then you talk to the kids, you're like,
Kids are like water bottles.
great
like,
guys though.
whiskey.
Who wins, Nassau or Dayton Club?
Dude, Nassau.
Nassau
no,
is so
dude,
much-
Nassau
Nassau
is legit.
is
good.
Dude, the year Nassau with me, it was like legitimately like a Long
Where
Island
would
All-Star
Nassau
team.
place in like a D2?
They would low key.
I think they
be
could
up
like low
there.
key
Dude,
like.
I told you guys, like
JUCO's no joke.
I made a JUCO video highlighting Essex, Hartford, Nassau, and Onondaga. Hartford ended up winning it this year. Dude, they could compete against D1 teams. I'm not kidding. Watching those guys play, like, and again, that's what JUCO is. I don't want to like be the bad guy
like
in the room, but it's
second
guys
chance,
that
yeah.
second chance you. It's last chance you. It's these guys that go to school, get in trouble with the law, or don't have the best grades coming out of high school.
I saw your clip. He
Yeah,
said
and
they
it's just-
under the rug beat Syracuse in the dome. What did he
Yeah,
say? about that?
Onondaga beat Syracuse.
I don't know if I buy
in the
that.
dome. Well, dude, this is when Onondaga had Randy Stotts and Austin Stotts and these
that
legit
happened.
guys.
In a little scrimmage, yeah. that-
Yeah, so pretty crazy.
Dude, JUCO ball is like legitimate.
Yeah.
Legitimate.
Yeah, it's
Like,
legit.
That
You
was
start
such
talking
a
about
good
Long
video. By the
Island.
way, that was such a sick video. That
Yeah,
was such a
sick video, right? Like, dude,
It was
also
so interesting.
We used to
because you don't know
joke.
that.
We used to
Yeah.
joke with Nassau that it was like Long Island Express rehab.
That's
I mean,
funny.
I
like
love
the
that.
team
That's
is like literally, I think all the kids are from the island, and it was pretty interesting.
It's
Well,
so
I love
funny.
that. More on JUCO to come for sure. Next voicemail. Oh God, he's calling again. This is
Jim
gotta be long. We're
Hogan
gonna have to
from
cut this
Ridgewood,
one
New
short.
Jersey. I've got this question as well. Why doesn't the PLL have an old-timers game in conjunction with the All-Star game? Personally, I would love to see Paul Rabel, for example, suit him up again. And I would love to see Jerry Raganese take a face-off. And I would love to see the Beast, Greg Gorenlian. The list goes on and on. There's obviously so many all-stars, but old-timers, why can't we have either old-timers, or although given the state of this league, technically you could probably be an
Stop it there. You
old-timer
can
by
stop
the
it there.
time you're
I think
28 or
that
29.
that's a good point, actually. Like,
Yeah,
we should kind of
genius.
like that's a good
I like
point,
that.
right?
Genius.
After the All Star game, seeing like Rabel suit up again and Jerry Ragg
And
and
Greg
Nikos,
Beast,
yeah,
all
Greg
those guys.
Beast,
Think about all the legends like who've retired, even like back in like the MLL days. Like,
dude, like Mark Millen going out there. I'd
yeah.
love to see that.
It's because they don't want to tear his
Yeah.
ACL.
That's like
No,
John
I mean,
Grant Jr. That would be.
I mean,
sick.
literally, we're talking about what happens in Placid right now.
But
mean,
I
this
feel like
happens
that would
in
be
Yeah,
cool
but-
to watch.
Alumni games are such a staple in our sport
Play-
and all these colleges that I think
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
Yeah, let them you give them like a free trip.
Yeah,
to
it'd
the
be
All-Star
sweet,
game,
yeah.
you handpick a couple every year, integrate them into the actual All-Star lineups.
Yeah.
and they have like special jersey. I don't know. I think
Eddie
that'd be
Roddy,
sick.
all those
Yeah.
guys. That'd
And
be
I think
sick.
it helps the league, the PLL, get that older crowd too to kind of
Yeah.
watch back because those older guys looked up to Mark Millen and these older guys,
Yeah.
and the fact that they're going to play again, they would kind of bring them back. So
one
I'm
player
on
you
for
could
that.
see, one player from the past as you could see playing the All-Star game this year.
You start. We'll go down the line.
I don't know. That's why I asked you.
I think John Grant Jr.
That's
would
what
be
I was going to
sick.
say. John
Would be
Grant Jr.
sick.
would be silly.
Would be
Just to see
seriously
Paul
sick.
Rabel suit
Mark
up one more
Matthews
time.
too.
Mark Matthews
That
would
would
be
be
sick.
sick.
Dude,
Two-
even like a Steele Stanwyck.
Yeah,
would be sick.
I want to. The two that I think I hold close to my heart: Max Siebold.
Yep.
Yes,
I loved him.
Legend.
And like someone random,
Dude,
like
even
a
like
Spallina, like a Brian Spallina,
Or like a
with
Casey
the-
Powell.
That's why I said like
Ken
a Nicky
Clausen.
Polanco.
Yeah,
Like those kind of guys.
yeah,
Legends,
like
legends.
someone like
Jojo Marasco. Like
Oh,
legends.
legend.
Like,
yeah.
That's crazy, though. I love that. Good question, Jim Hogan, Ridgewood native. Last
Yes, sir. Good
voicemail
question.
of the day.
Great idea.
Yeah,
It's a great idea.
We want to bring it at the Paul.
So much smarter than his son.
We might have to bring it up. My dad's got the good take. He does.
He does
That's
have
a
good
great
takes.
take.
He does have good takes. Oh, God. Bobby.
Hello, gentlemen. This is Bobby Shank out of Cockeysville, Maryland. And my hot take is around the impact of the transfer portal on college lacrosse team culture. Certainly, we've seen teams like Notre Dame and Virginia tactically add 2-3 pieces to round out their rosters and put them over the top, bring them to glory even in some cases. But we're looking at programs like Jacksonville and Rutgers and even your beloved Ohio State Buckeyes, who bring in 10, 11, 12 outsiders from across the lacrosse landscape. How is this okay? Coaches spewing nonsense about commitment and loyalty, adding outsiders who bring their own culture. Where's the commitment to the players you recruited? I'll take it a step further. Any success that these teams have found built on these transfers is at all a joke. Is a hollow. 23, 24-year-olds celebrating victories against college teams with kids that are actually in college. The common response will be, everyone does it. But is it really true? Ivies don't do it. Academies don't do it. Patriot League can't take grad transfers. Plenty of schools don't even have grad schools.
That was a pretty interesting take. I don't even know if that was a real voice, but Bobby Shank, shout out to you.
Scared.
That's an interesting point. And what he said
Is
is,
that a real voice?
I was scared.
I mean, the academy take, though, real quick, like, they do have prep schools, so, like,
yeah, it's a little bit different. But it's an interesting point.
It's different,
like,
but
know,
those guys are, the academy guys are usually
when,
old, too. But
you know,
they can't take transfers.
Hoagie and I were freshmen when COVID year happened. Obviously, our sophomore year was the lockdown year. Our sophomore year, I remember vividly knowing and finding out Rutgers took like 10 to 12 guys. They were kind of the first team to really go very transfer heavy. And obviously teams have followed, teams like Ohio State and Jacksonville and kind of these one-off teams. Do we see that as like the future? Obviously the COVID year's done, but like, is it now? And something I've heard recently, is it now if I'm a coach, I'm taking less in my recruiting class
So
to then attack more in the transfer portal?
Yeah, I think it's definitely like where we're trending with the portal. And like I alluded to last week, a lot of kids are going to start to go to lower programs and light it up for a year and transfer. And yes, teams are going to start adding less, freshman incoming class because they're going to go, why would I take 12 freshmen when I might bank on 5 being good maybe or 5 being, and I can just fill them up with, do I want an 18-year-old who has really good talent but a little raw, or like a 24-year-old who played 4 years lacrosse and is a seasoned vet kind of out there, not going to panic? To me, I think it's tough. I think you got to do it properly. I think there's like 2 ways to do it. I think the bringing in a whole kind of recruiting class in the portal of 10 to 12 guys is just not the way to do it.
Yeah,
it's
crazy.
From
So
like a
bad.
culture standpoint, like I think it's easy to go, we might have need a defenseman, maybe a second line midi for depth, and then like, I don't know, maybe like another like man down guy, bring in 3 guys in the portal, bang, you're set. I think the problem is when you start bringing in like a whole class of transfers, it's tough because the transfers, obviously, to get them there, you're saying that you're going to play. And then it sucks for the kids who are on the team because those kids are
I think it's
gonna play.
biggest from a culture perspective.
And it really messes with the culture, bringing in those guys, because a lot of those guys are told in their visits, you're going to start, you're going to play regardless. Yeah. And there's kids who've worked 2, 3, 4 years at their certain school to get to where they are, and then you bring in a transfer, and you're kind of sent to the curb, which is tough.
It's tough.
So to me, it works.
But it really just shows you like
guys. I think from a big perspective, I don't culture-wise.
It shows you like it's the business aspect of college lacrosse, where it's like coach could tell you one thing and next new guy comes in and takes your spot. Like,
but it's not even like the playing time aspect. I think it's the culture-wise, the camaraderie, the team bonding, the team building. It's really a 50-50 on whether that's going to break or it's going to continue to grow on, like, if guys are going to mesh well. Like, you can talk to these guys for 5 minutes on a Zoom call and be like, I want you to watch your film, but, like, how do you really know how they're going to fit in your locker room from a family perspective?
What do you think, dude?
I think it depends on the school. Like, if you're at Jacksonville, you should make a living off of being like, okay, I'm not going to bet on a kid coming out of high school. I'm going to bet on a kid that I know what he can do on the field or what his potential is at a school like Jacksonville. When you are like in Ohio State, in my opinion, and I'm not speaking for you guys at all, when you can recruit and you have the facilities and you have, one of the best in the nation at like just bringing in. I think it could help your culture to have guys stay. I don't agree, and I don't even know if they bring in 10, 11 guys every year, or if that was even true. But I believe in sticking to your recruitment class and adding a couple pieces. Like I think Notre Dame does it beautifully.
They add the
what's their mindset?
They just add the pieces, a couple pieces here and there that they need. They don't go crazy with getting underclassmen transfers. They kind of look at their roster and go,
they got 50 years.
We're a little low here on the defensive side. Maybe need a second pole and another midi to help on offense. Bang, 3 transfers. Yeah. They fit in like glue.
Corrigan, the legend.
Like look at them when they won on that first championship run. They got Fake slide on defense, Tevlin, slide on to midfield, and I don't even know if and that was it. Yeah. Everyone else was recruited, but we need those. Bang, they're in. What? Tevlin comes in. And
you brought up a good point that we should have talked about. What Brian Tevlin's also just been able to do just for the Redwoods.
Yeah.
Like having the pole, like Chris Fake goes down. He has a pole in his hand, and like completely changes what you can do.
And that shows you too with Tevlin how of a good fit he was. He was a captain at Notre Dame as a transfer who played 1 year there.
Yeah, they love talking about that story too of like he had to stay on the field so Entman could get his moment. It's like. Or he was probably just talking to his family.
Yeah. No one really knows. I like that. Again, Mitch's mailbox, numbers on the screen. Call in. Leave your wildest lacrosse take. Hoagie, take us with a little fantasy quick.
Yeah, here was our fantasy this week, our lineup. Big production out of
Legend.
_𝐓𝐇𝐄. I rolled with him because I knew they were playing the Waterdogs. So I was like, you know what, let's see what value we can get. Great value on the points there. Kirsten Net, another great value pick for 41. Rowlett staying steady. Offensive output was a little shady. Trey LaFleur. Trey didn't give me a point, let me down a little bit, but he was been hot the last couple weeks, and he was cheap, so I thought add him on the thing. But now Tucci, Curse, the 2 Cannons boys, the specialists, really carry this week. Like we said, we can't make the picks for Tuesday, but it will be on the screen.
Yeah, it will be on the screen right now. And if you guys want to get involved, download the PLL app, hit the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show tab, get involved, play against us each week. This is our picks for each week, and obviously they'll be on the screen. Since we're filming on Monday, we can't make our picks until Tuesday. Pick'ems for week 4. Obviously, next week it is a bye for the PLL, so we're going to pick for the week after, June 28th and 29th. Let's start with pick'ems. Let's go to the records real quick. Talk about the weeks. The Pelkinator and Hoagie, 2-2. Miles, 1-3, and Dukes as well at 2-2. Again, it's right here of how how it could go. General thoughts, potentially at the halfway point. How are we feeling?
I'm in last place right now, honestly.
Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous at all because it's a long season. I can feel my way
Playing
out.
the long game, huh?
Yeah, it's not over after 2 weeks. So.
Is that what they say?
Yeah, that's what some say. Dukes?
I feel great.
Yeah,
I feel like now just being able to see some more action, get the vibe of all the teams now. You're 3 weeks in. I feel great where I stand.
Yeah.
I think after the week 1, fading the Atlas in both games, dug myself a hole.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Miles started printing out the receipts. Ooh, I'm not going to do the punishment. You bugging a little bit, buddy?
Are you nervous?
1-3?
No,
1-3? 1-3? I've never seen someone sit in first place so uncomfortably.
I'm good. 7-5 still, so we're chilling.
He who wears the crown wears it heavy. Is that what they say?
Ooh. Miles could be doing the punishment. We got a long season. Let's hop in to week 4 of Pick'ems, June 20th, 29th. First game. We'll go down the line as we usually do. Dukes, Miles, Hoagie, then Pelk. Atlas versus Whipsnakes. Who do you got?
I got to go Atlas.
I think it's going to be a sweeper here.
Atlas.
Yeah, I mean, the Atlas are gonna get knocked off one of these weeks. I don't know when, but I can't do it this week. I'm taking the Atlas. I'm waiting for like a team up there that I can really entice and be like confident in them. I really want to pick the Whips, but like I just can't. Atlas, obviously.
Yeah, I'm going Atlas as well. They just look too good, and our guy said it. I think his name was Zach or Ben on voicemails, but potentially the best PLL team ever.
If it's a +1.5 for the Whips, it's like gonna be like, oh my god, I'm gonna be so enticed to take it.
Yeah.
But I don't know because again, we're doing this 2 weeks out. We don't even know, is Trevor out?
Yeah.
That changes.
And that's the thing too. We're recording this on June 17th at 9:51 a.m.
Yeah.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I got it right
now. I can't pick Whips right now.
Yeah. All right. 4 for the Atlas. Next game, Cannons versus Archers. This is a toss-up.
Oh. Love this one.
I love it too.
Cannons.
I'm going to take the Cannons.
Yep, Cannons.
I'm going Archers. A lot of Buckeyes on that team. I have a feeling. Sis is going to find his way on the off week, and they're going to do it. That's all I got to say. Woods versus Outlaws, as you guys think, is potentially the 2 worst teams in the league right now. Dukes, what do you got?
I'm going Woods. I like the Woods in this one.
Interesting. Outlaws.
Redwoods for me. I'm going Woods.
That's a squad.
I got the Woods. I got
the Outlaws. You know why? Because I think Brenner Neo is going to continue to light it up. That's all I'm going to say.
There you go.
And lastly, Waterdogs versus Chaos. It's an interesting one.
Great game.
I think this is the hardest game of the week.
I think this and the Cannons is truly 50-50.
Wow.
Waterdogs.
Wow.
Dogs.
Second best team in the league right now.
Dogs.
They have to get their first win. It's Waterdogs.
Waterdogs.
They have to.
They got to win.
I'm going to go Chaos. I'm fading the fellas.
Miles,
and I'm
you
going
like
Chaos.
this,
No, I don't.
take
And you know
risky
what?
picks.
I'll say it, Mitch. For someone that has the same thinking, I totally agree with you. It's truly, in my mind, like a 50-50 game.
Yeah.
And I think even last week, I was like, Waterdogs, Cannons. I was like,
Well, the thing that worries me is, again, they have so much time before the 29th. The face-off thing, like, it's on the board now. We talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Farrell.
I'll figure
I
it
like
out.
Nick Rowlett. He played great against Sis.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. Those
it's
are our
going to be a
picks. Lock them in.
defensive battle
Yeah.
again.
It will be.
It'll be locked in. But that's going to really wrap up episode 7 of the Mitchell Pehlke Lacrosse Show.
Wait, we got Duke's fun fact.
Oh, yeah, Duke's fun fact.
This is actually a good segue. Professor Hughes, the only team to come back after starting 0-3 and win the PLL championship, drum roll, the Philadelphia Waterdogs.
Wow. Will we see it again in 2024? Stay tuned and find out. We'll see you guys in episode 8. See you guys soon. Peace.